A copy of the said bill on the table.
Manya Rami Reddy Ala, your time starts now, please.
Yeah. So, sir, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on the sustainable harnessing and advancement of nuclear energy for transforming India Bill 2025. Sir, for decades, nuclear power in India remained largely restricted to government bodies. This bill recognized the aspirations of 21st century of India, especially energy security and low carbon growth, requires bringing in private investment and regulatory clarity. At the same time, it rightly retains central government control over strategic and sensitive activities, ensuring national security and technical integrity. This bill recognizes that nuclear energy is not limited to just electricity alone, but also towards regulation of radiation facilities used in medicine, diagnostics, cancer therapy, agriculture, and industrial applications, which will help standardize safety while enabling innovation and wider public benefit. However, sir, while we support the broad vision of clean energy, we cannot discuss any national policy without considering the real governance challenges that we will be facing. However, there are some key features of this bill which they are allowing private companies and government entities and joint ventures to build, operate and decommission nuclear plants. Here I have some concern on the private companies coming into it. It also keeps sensitive activities such as fuel processing, high-level waste management and enrichment safety under central government control. Very good. It introduces a dual authorization system, a license from center and a safety authorization from AERB. Very good. It also gives the AERB statutory powers to inspect, enforce safety complaints and coordinate with international nuclear regulators. Very, very good. Regulators, it also regulates radioactive substances and radiation facilities used across the healthcare, research and industry. Good. It updates the nuclear liability regime, capping operator liability and having the central government assuming the residual liability. But sir, capping the liability on a private operator, I am not for it. It sets up a nuclear damage claims commission to handle compensation without civil court intervention. Very good. However, sir, there are some challenges. The nuclear projects can succeed only when people have confidence in the system. However, this bill does not clearly mandate community consultation, transparent information sharing and continuous engagement with people living around the nuclear facilities. Sir, there are also some ground-level emergency response gaps we saw in this bill. In any nuclear incident, the first responders will be the district officials, hospitals and local communities, not the authorities sitting in Delhi. Yet the bill does not mandate emergency drills, radiation-specific medical preparedness or public awareness programs. Given the present state government's poor track record in routine disaster management responses, these gaps become even more alarming. The nuclear waste remains hazardous for decades and even centuries, but the bill does not clearly fix long-term responsibility after the plant decommissionings. If private operators exit and state institutions remain weak, future governments and the citizens of this country may be forced to manage unresolved environmental risks, an issue of intergenerational injustice. We certainly need to take into account of the environmental concerns that are going to come out of the nuclear waste management. Sir, coming to the benefits that we have to give to the host states which are permitting these sort of facilities. Sir, while the bill centralizes the key powers, it does not sufficiently strengthen preparedness or negotiating capacity at the state and district levels. If private entities are allowed to operate nuclear power plants, host states must be assured of clear and tangible benefits. The bill is largely silent on guaranteed local employment and priority power allocation or structured community development. Further, the bill creates a nuclear damage claims mechanism. It does not clearly explain how affected communities will be informed, represented, or assisted in accessing compensations. Without clear benefit sharing mechanisms and transparent participation, nuclear expansion risks becomes extractive rather than inclusive. Sir, introducing private nuclear operators without strong center-state coordination is very dangerous. I would want that the Honourable Minister to take note of this. Sir, therefore, on behalf of my party, I respectfully suggest that Government of India, for atomic energy, we must have our clear strategy for next 25-50 years. We should also have the right kind of structuring. How these projects are going to happen. Even if at all it has to happen, you can bring in the public-private participation where government must be partner with the private investors. Then we should also clearly mention the deliverables. The deliverables around this, on every front. See, whether it's not just power generation, but also beyond that, how we are going to take advantage of this particular activity to take our country to the next level. And also a right kind of review mechanisms and the right kind of audit mechanisms, especially AERB we are bringing in, but it needs to be strengthened a lot. We need to really get into that. And with that, also, the union government should make mandated state-level consultation frameworks before citing the nuclear projects with legally binding stakeholder engagement protocols. Also, disaster management and public health readiness plans integrated with the local governments, especially for states with coastal populations and industrial growth aspirations, must be brought in. A transparent benefit sharing model should be built into the licensing regime so that host regions gain tangible social and economic advantages from these nuclear investments. Sir, once again, I want to say that strengthening, because this is atomic energy, as some of our other members have mentioned, it's a very, very sensitive subject. We, from the government side, if we look at on the environment side, whether it is air pollution or water pollution, solid waste management, even atomic waste management. If you see, we have to do a lot of work. So I would strongly recommend that on these particularly waste management areas, environment protection areas around atomic energy plants, we must really put ourselves furthermore thinking and thought process and strengthen the AERB to next level. With these recommendations from YSR Congress Party, we support this bill. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Manisri Mujibullah Khan.